100 people, including a sprinkling of pop stars.
Every time I spoke about this in pubs with my friends, every long night in sort of around the table after dinner, no one, we ask each other why we're going to war. No one gives a clear answer. Can't give each other a clear answer. And as citizens of this country, you can go into war without knowing what you're doing. It's absolutely crazy.
But Tony Blair looked relaxed as he answered questions from senior MPs.
The artwork on the wall of the French embassy in London depicts.
As he answered questions from
What's going on?
senior MPs.
The artwork on the wall of the French embassy.
What's going on, Belinda? You want a guest? That's what you want? You want? Oh, man. It's super hot. What do you want? See, my tripod's broken, so I can't, my thing doesn't stand up straight, and I can't really get it in a position I want it. One of the legs broke off my tripod. I gotta find another one. I'm getting this video together right now, though. Let me just get the video together first. I'm almost done.
On the French embassy in London depicts the young girl from the.
Hey, you want me to guess? If you want to guess, just hit the guess button.
The artwork on the wall of the French embassy in London depicts the young girl from the musical Les Miserables with tears streaming from her eyes as a kind of CS gas lies beneath her. The work is criticizing the use of tear gas in the refugee camp in Calais. A general view of a Banksy.
You know what happened? I'm just trying to breaking news, you know. Banksy, you know Banksy, who does graffiti art stencils. Do you know Banksy?
No.
Well, it's like a secret person, kind of like Vegan Traveler. Like people, like, you know how people know that Vegan Traveler is really Leonard's Donald Smiley?
Yeah.
But people don't know that Banksy is Robert Del Nye from Massive Attack. And now I have this information. I'm making a video about it.
Massive Attack, really?
Yeah. And that's what I'm hurrying up. I'm making this video because it's like it got accidentally revealed on this podcast called Goldie or something like that.
A general.
And then they edited it out, so only I have the information. I have the recording with the full recording, and I'm putting it together. I might get in trouble for this, but I don't care.
With a Banksy wall painting on the separation.
Jonas, you always get in trouble. You always get in trouble with whatever you post. You always get in trouble.
Yeah, Goldie as in the big UK, that's right.
16th, 2013 in Central West Bank. The famous I Remember When All This Was Trees mural by Banksy on display as part of the street art featuring Banksy at.
Oh god, I hate these like robotic like voice overs. They're so bad.
Use what?
I'm Batman.
Damn, there's this girl that I know. Do you know? You don't know that. You don't want to know this.
Just wait a second. I'll be right back.
The famous I Remember When All This Was Trees mural by Banksy on display as part of the street art featuring Banksy at Julian's Auctions in Beverly Hills, California.
God. I'm just trying to plug my flowers in.
Don't.
Get better.
Don't? Is that what you said? Don't.
Well,
Don't.
What are you doing? Are you careful?
I was trying to plug my flowers in. What are you up to?
Oh. I'm waiting for this message back from this girl who gave me blue balls yesterday.
She give you blue balls? Oh,
Yeah.
how'd she give you blue balls?
Well, you know how it happens. Because she's freaking... she's just being a tease, you know?
Well, you know how to release the blue
Just
balls.
gotta force B12 on her. Be like, B12, no choice. You know, like that.
You
Huh?
gotta sit off that rainbow, Jonas.
Walton document was painted on the separation wall in the Israeli-occupied West Bank in 2007, but was sold at auction in California.
Oh, wow. It's all worth all this money.
A robot and a bomb.
Jonas, I do want to have this discussion with you. How do you feel about convicts in Australia?
Australia?
I know you're not all
Evacuate
for it.
Australia in the winter at least, you know? Go to the Gold Coast or something and overthrow the government and get your gun rights back.
No, we're pretty
okay.
okay.
Having your rights to guns is to stop people
Like
from violating.
we do have gun laws over here.
You
Like
have your
like
right.
we do
They've
have,
taken away your freedom. And then how can you live with no freedom? Do you want to constantly have things forced on you, like education and medicine that aren't real? They're fake versions in order to keep you indoctrinated into their mentality.
well, I'm pretty
Medicine.
settled right now. Like we've got gun control over here right now, so I can sleep
Yeah.
with the door open right now, which I have been doing for the past 6 years, and I feel safe.
But safe isn't the same as free.
Well, I don't know. Well, I guess I'll say I feel free.
Freedom's a need, not a feeling.
A robot and a bomb
Not
put
a
left on the wall
need.
in the Coney
Jesus
Island area
Christ.
of New
Like,
York
I
City
can
in
find anything in my
1982
room.
in
I can find anything in
2013.
my room at the moment that would be a weapon.
Well, England's less free than you guys, I guess. And Canada is less free, too. Canada, you'll be arrested for defending yourself. You can't even defend yourself. It's against the law to defend yourself against crime.
That's the one thing I don't understand though. Like, for someone that's a vegan, like, why would you want a device that's going to kill something?
No one's a vegan. I don't agree with using vegan that way. Like, vegan's an action. Like, yeah, maybe it's not a vegan act to go out on purpose and seek people to kill, but it's totally within the bounds of nonviolence to protect yourself. Like, so if someone is coming to, like, do physical harm to you, blow them away. Why not? That's how it works. That's why you have if the government is taking away your freedom of speech and the government is violating your rights and forcing
But how many people
the government
like
is saying
a
people
week
can't
are
go, people
coming
can't
to
move.
attack you, or a
The government
month,
is
or a
if the
year,
government is
or
if
every
the government tries to
5
tax
years,
you,
or every
if
10
the
years?
government
Like,
but if the government tries to tax you and take a percentage of your money, that's force. Like, we don't want that. That's why we stood up and said no, and we fought the government, and we won. Do you know why we won and we achieved our freedom? You wouldn't even have as much freedom as you have if we didn't stand up and fight and destroy the English government. You know that, right? Like, destroying the government of England is within the rights of people to gain freedom. Like, English government was doing tyranny, and they were taking people's freedoms, and they were trying to tax things like tea. Could you imagine if someone tried to tax something that you were buying? That's ridiculous. I wouldn't stand for it. I would freaking have it's like mutiny. You know? Like, do you understand why? How America
that's
got
the
founded?
American government. It's not the Australian
You know the reason
government.
why
I
we're
mean,
free? Yeah, and that's why we're trying to overthrow the American government. That's why it's built into the American government to overthrow the American government, and that's why we're allowed to have guns, so we can overthrow our government when it becomes tyrannical to our rights. And we know that. Every person knows that. And that's why we train with guns every day to fight the government in order to take it down. It only takes 3% of people fighting against it to take it back and regain control and reattain our freedom. Do you know what freedom isn't free, right? Do you all just want to say, oh, if the Australian government says I have to get these poisons injected into me and are all going to make us stupid, do you accept that? Like, how can you dare accept that the government wants to shoot you with heavy metal poison and make you stupid?
Jonas, you
Are you
always
vaccinated?
insult my country.
No, it's no insult to your country. I'm talking about you standing up for yourself, gaining your own freedom, like gaining your rights back, taking back your rights.
But you instantly just like insulted our country because of like the.
Yeah, take it down. All countries. Doesn't matter what country it is in the world. I will insult every country that exists because countries are not people. Countries are imaginary fictions that people have bound themselves to take away their rights. And if a government gets out of hand and takes away your freedoms, that's why we have gun rights. That's just the whole point of gun rights. I want you to understand that. We have guns to keep our freedom.
So are you against individuals or are you against religion?
Individuals. That's why we have guns, is because we are individuals. That's the whole purpose of America, is individuals. Socialism is not for individuals. I'm not for socialism, that's for sure. Like, you can't tell someone else what to do. Nobody could. That's not fair. Like, people, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, do your own thing. No victim, no crime. That's how we say it. Taxation is theft. No victim, no crime. No time. No victim, no crime, no time. Because we're trying to get rid of jails. And your country is founded on a jail. Your country was made in order to jail people. The English government was saying, oh, these people didn't pay their taxes, and put them in Australia and do horrible things to them. That's how you guys got there. And, like, you stood up to England at one point. Didn't Australia have to fight England to get free, too? What happened? So, like, we can look at Wikipedia, and Wikipedia might tell us. Maybe Paulie Ray knows. Paulie Ray's famous. He might know how Australia got its freedom back. Or maybe not.
Sorry, it keeps breaking up.
Oh, really? Uh-oh. See, no tripod.
Piece by Banksy, during the press view for the artist's biggest show to date, entitled This Mountain at Tropicana in Western Supermare, Somerset, opened in August last year.
No, actually, my ancestors came over here as convicts. Can you guess why my ancestors came over here as convicts?
Because they were raping and murdering and stealing stuff from people with money or something, or what?
No. Well, they did murder a few people. But also
I'm a big fan of, like...
But also
old
they were
English,
burning houses down. They were burning houses down, so... They weren't raping
Yellow
people. Fuck off. No one rapes people in my family.
It happens. Nobody got persecuted for it, you mean? Nobody was in jail for the crime of taking the rights of another person?
No, it never happened in my family. It's... No, but... What's that say? I can't believe Banksy got out. He did it so good.
Yeah, Indy, that's why I need to
actually, my great grandfather is actually
I can't believe Donald Leonard Smiley got outed. You know what I mean?
Banksy stenciled of Max Clifford, the famous publicist who has now been embroiled in a host of sexual abuse claims. Banksy painted the piece in Bloomfield Place, West London.
That's it. That is the end. Cool, I'm done. Now let's get this thing rendered.
But yeah, did you hear? Yeah, my great. I think I've told you this a couple of times. Yeah, my great grandfather is actually in the Ned Kelly gang.
Who's this? Hello?
Oh my god, Jonas has got a friend?
No. It's a freaking...
It's urged, however, that you contact the people concerning your eligibility for lowering your interest rate. Press 1 now.
They're trying to get me to lower my interest rate or something dumb. I don't even know where my credit card... I lost my credit card. I don't even know where my credit card is. It's lost. Whatever. I have to reorder one, or I have to find it. Maybe I'll look again. I gotta clean my car. I've never cleaned my car, you know. That's why you need the help of a female-bodied person, I guess. How come women are so much better at cleaning?
Thank you for the 400 likes. Even though it's just a stream. Jonas, who are you on the phone to?
Who, where, when, what?
Who are you on the phone to?
I'm not on the phone. That was an automated phone call trying to tell me about lowering my interest rate. I don't even know what they're talking about.
Oh, it's one of those ones like, oh, if you don't subscribe to this message, like, it's kind of like one of those chain letters, like.
Yeah,
if you
push
don't-
9 if you don't want a phone call again.
I kind of feel though, like, if I didn't send that chain message, like, when I was 17, I kind of feel like I would have a better life right now.
Goldie reveals bank C identity.
I don't know, that's just me though. I mean, did everyone else get those chain messages when they were like 16, 15 years old? Like, if you don't send this, like, your family's gonna die. So I send those chain messages.
Sent chain messages. What's that?
And I kind of like to think, like, things have turned out.
Distraction Pieces Podcast. What did cool. Distraction Pieces Podcast. Full. I guess I'm just giving. See, I'm giving the part that's cut out, but then I'm also giving the whole thing, and I'm also giving the evidence that was priorly guessed at, but like edited in a future tense to now that we know. And I'm just gonna hit go. Yeah. Finished. Okay, I got my freaking tripod broken. I need to figure this out. You wanna go sweep the streets barefoot? That's what I was doing earlier. Ay, ay, ay.
Okay, we'll figure it out. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Where are you going? I think they're picking. Oh, hot. I better put my shoes on.
Jesus.
Figure this out.
I'll be
What happened?
I'll be back in like 5 minutes. I promise.
Oh yeah. I'll re-guest you then, or what? Okay.
You can drop me if you want.
All right. Cool. I'll get the screen back.
Okay.
Okay. I'll see you in a second. Oh man, I got a needle in my shoe. What's going on? Why is there a needle in my shoe? Ow! It's worse than I thought. Oh, it's like I have a whole thorn like through the whole freaking sole. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, wow, look at that. It's really bad. There we go. There's two of them. Cool. Perfect. Now I got it out. I don't know how to set it up now that my tripod's all jacked up. Maybe the phone can act as the third leg, I guess. Oh, man, it's getting bad. Thing's gonna break. Oh. Yeah. Maybe you guys can just chill over here for a second then. I don't know. I gotta go to the store. I'm gonna buy a new tripod, I guess. But until I do, I've got some freaking handicaps. shovel. What's up? Uh-oh, that dog's gonna escape. Stay in. Stay in. My shovel. Where's my shovel? What are you trying to do? Run away? You following me? Let's make some. Hey, watch out. Let's make some grapefruit juice. Oh shit, we got watermelon. Let's get that watermelon and get that thing chopped up. Where is it? There it is. Get the music on. It's annoying. I don't know what that is. Some kind of special sound effect from the board or something. Oh man, have you guys seen Gaitis like smashing it? He rode 200 miles yesterday on his bicycle. He went from like Chiang Mai to Hong Kong or something on his bike. He went through all these military checkpoints. I need to turn that off. It's kind of annoying. Let's figure that out. Hold on. What the hell is this? What the hell? What is all this crap? Let me restart it. No idea. It's a kind of special sound effects. Dun dun. I don't know. 4.3%. Whatever. At least I stopped that annoying beeping. It was like dun 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 dun. I was like, what the hell? Who's fucking pushing the same key on the keyboard over and over and over again? Cause life's a bitch. Fuck, I gotta go get those prickly pears because my 12-hour time period between making the prickly pear fruit leather, but I gotta make the carob too, so I got shit to do. Let's just get it done. Doesn't matter if it's live or not. $12 blender's almost breaking. I got like $12 blender, like major crackage. Look at that. Look at that crack in my blender. Do you see that? See? Where is it? It goes from like here, up here, across here, over here, all the way up to the top. It's not done yet, but it's gonna get there. Let's throw some ice cubes in there, man. My fruit pie is looking low. It is low. Use All those bananas. Oh wait, I got jackfruit. Frozen jackfruit. So I got a compost to do. We're gonna be hating it to a new tripod. This no tripod thing is making it fucking suck.
20 kilohertz of sound, so we can't even perceive. It's such a high frequency, we can't pick it up.
That's true. What I have here is a device that will actually lower the frequency enough to where we can hear it.
Okay.
It said that they're actually making a mental image, so it's like vision only with sound.
Oh yeah? I got watermelon. It's freaking hot outside. I'm gonna go back outside and kick more ass.
Right out the cave, still purpose in flight. Echo words through the dark. Watch me take the night.
Watch me take the night.
Adrenaline rush for levels within the horizon on the edge of the world. Thinking about skydiving, no parachute, just falling, hitting where I land. Feeling pain, contemplating on what I coulda, shoulda, woulda, what have I done? Question, but it's too late, no. Turning back, I keep it forward, wouldn't create an escape plan.
Belinda said her boyfriend cheated on her.
Let my thoughts travel to touch new lands. Pick myself up after I travel.
Where'd Belinda go? Belinda coming back? She said her boyfriend cheated on her. What does that mean? I thought, how could he still be her boyfriend? Like, I thought polyamory was the thing to do. You can't claim someone. It's hard to own somebody. Like, I don't think having a relationship is a vegan act. You know what I mean? And there's no way we can be like, oh, everything we do is vegan. Like, that's why the umbrella kind of exists. It's like, sure, like monkeys in the jungle. You know how they make peace? GG rubbing, you know? So her boyfriend was probably having conflict with some other girl, and they solved their problem and made peace. That's all that happened. You know what I mean? She said she couldn't sleep because her boyfriend cheated, but like, I think that she needs to just find some GG rubbing herself from some other partners. That's all it goes down to. I heard she was famous and had a great pair of breasts, and everybody was like attracted to her and wanted someone to touch them and stuff. Like Belinda's party animal number one is freaking Adelaide.
Beats my bunny bed, birthed in a Glasgow cave. I felt the vibe, sent through Avalon sound waves. Messages in bottles floating on the waves. Scribbling backwards with words, spitting words on the page. I'm the bird at night, soaring on stage. Rock with a flock fly that can't be stopped. I'm nocturnal individuals with that hunger to rock. When I swing, spit cerebellum medullas get knocked. Shattering frequencies, short speakers on your box. Strictly certified, it's fantastic.
Right on. Sleep well, man. Rest is important.
That's far from average.
Back out there and kick ass now that we got hydrated. You want to go outside, huh? You want to go outside, huh? Looks like you want to go outside. It's not happening. It's not happening. No. Nope. No dogs. Dog prison because it fucking fights other dogs. Man, over here's the place to be because it's in the shade. Yeah. That's what we were doing. We were getting a shovel. Let's get that shovel, man. It's all about the shovel. I say it's a girl. Who? Who's the girl? Belinda? She was just guessing a second ago. I think her boyfriend cheated with another boy, maybe. He's probably got a boyfriend. He's probably going out with Durian Rider. Remember how Vegan Cheetah said he was like anal in under a week? So, you know what I mean? It could be that Belinda's boyfriend is getting together with Vegan Cheetah, even, for all we know. That looks pretty bad back here. But, I don't know. We gotta take our guesses. We gotta wait till she gets back and she'll tell us. Yeah, where's the dog at? Here he is. Gigi, what do you want to say? What do you want to say? You have nothing to say? I got the shovel. Hey, what up? Keeping this dog trapped. Oh man, my yard's pretty bad. Look, I got dead tree branches. I got none of my grass cut. I got overgrowth. Oh, I got problems. But yeah, this is what I'm putting No, I'm trying to work done to get some frickin' the city is trying to find me like 1,000, 3,000. My yard being all fucked up. Wow, it's hot. What's this dog doing? Gotta hustle just to egg ends meet, dog. We got more watermelon. That's what's up. Check it out. So that's round one. Oh shit. There's no tripod. Broken tripod thing sucks. Just to say. Oh. Hey. That's how we're gonna roll this summer. We're gonna have massive watermelon parties. I'm gonna try to like take watermelon with me to every palm tree climb because I'm not trying to dilute my electrolytes. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna keep my body's electrical freaking charged mineral salts, not like dilute them with water. There's water coming in. It's coming in from fruit. Strain it because we're straight up ghetto like this. I kind of want this bulb actually. Suppress it through. The only thing that's missing is the seeds, I guess. Yes. This ain't seedless. Look at all those seeds. Where's my... This works. Hell no, I wouldn't put water with watermelon. That's loco, man. There's already a water. The water comes in the watermelon. People do that. Be like, oh man, it's too much sugar. They're like, I gotta dilute the fruit juice with some water to make it less sweet. I'm like, what? No way, man. I want it as sweet as it can be. Give me the maximum sweetness. So I got more actually. And there's ice in there still? Ooh, why am I wearing a shirt? I don't have no clue why I'm wearing a shirt. It's just fucking hot.
Blow you out of the frame.
13%, man. We gotta wait. How long we gotta wait? I got messages.
Check it out, y'all. When I say hip, y'all say hip hop.
When I say
baby mothers, snitching, kiss my ass, Jada, still spitting, when line snip, NYC, veteran rhyme, strong sign, up in the sky, see, street out the NYC, and you say New York City, you say New York City, I kill it with my New York spit. I'm coming straight out the NYC, and you say New York City.
Once I get to number one, I'm gonna tell everybody how to how they can undo how they can become heterosexual again. From the rock and apple hard Jamaican Queens, where I got my sauce. The vibe transmitted from speakers out wall. So here the BX, the flame spread, burning up the 5 boroughs. QU, Brooknam, Shaolin, LI, LES, the YO. Street to New York, score by Coogee Rap and DJ Waller, watching back from Tri-State Popo. Stopping, brisket, picked the floor, wearing badges. Quick to the cabinets, murals cover walls of those laid by the savage. Speedy while talking artists using trains, cabins. Remember Gina Barclay. Street out the NYC. And you say New York City. I kill it with my New York spit. I'm coming straight out the NYC. And you say New York City. I kill it with my New York spit. That's where life got a 50 tongue. Quick to turn a 16 to a 61. Area 51. Get your guns, get your money up. Life ain't over, this ain't on, this is fun. Biggie and Mom, can't cause Jack, one big L. Time in the block, broke way to the Bronx. Gave them all them cock. I'm gonna post this on my friend's walls. It's so funny. Yoga for cocktail orders. Yeah, I'm sweating up the storm, huh? Woo, I'm hot. It's hot outside. It's like 120. Joke. Over 100, over body temperature everywhere. Yeah, I don't use AC either. No AC. I just have this fan right here. This fan's alright. I don't know why it's pointing out. I don't want to put it in. That fan on. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's a dry heat. It's a dry heat. People love dry heat. Dry heat's like, or maybe not. It's pretty hot. I'm trying to pull a Eugenia Cooney over here. Have you seen my friend Jeff? He's down to 200 calories a day. He's like 200 calories a day. He said, I don't know how he's doing that. Let's go weigh myself. gotta try to keep track of what's going on here. I don't think I've ever been not lean. I've always been lean. Here's my scale. Here's the scale right here. Let's see what we're looking at. Yeah, 134. Yeah, 200 calories a day. That's what he says. I don't know. He said you're only meant to take a few sips of juice a day. Yeah, right. I say we eat whenever. I say we can go long periods of time without food, but that's because we ran out. You know what I mean? It's not because if we had food, we'd eat till our heart's content. You know, we'd eat till we'd eat ourselves drunk and be happy under the tree and pass out. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be a problem. Let me put this back in to keep it cool for my second half. Whew. Oh shit, we got female hip hop on. Let's check it out. Dude, some guy got shot at the train stop for not wearing a shirt. What? That's fucked up. You know fouler than me. Much too cumbersome. Beat to the bunny drum until your brain cells lose numb with who you're running from. Interwoven, woven, and what you get is my profits. That's split so you can see how like a cool movement. Sail the 7 oceans, look ocean overdose. Bring it to the Texas for poking your noses. Business that's grown closest. You're not focused. My mom's atrocious. My shoulder's feeling better. That's all I care about.
They do good things, right? We do bad things, yeah. Crash with the formula, stack, cause I could stand, cause I put the lust back for the hood that stand tough. Keep it city when they stand on the floor. Get the whole world a great tag, a hustle upon the epitaph. Hit it back, keep it open now because it never lack. I speak a goons and spit way like a B-52 on my road on the drop when they move proper. Chicken head spreading legs, laying double decks with the girls tripping, ghetto fabulous. Angry birds shorting, turn the volume up the loudest. While we spit the loudest, sing affirmative action. See what I'm saying? Closed caption, clashing with these titans. They unleashing and cracking. Game of Thrones, status cold, fire, breathing dragons. Fly my drones over home, scoping out the cameras. Now give me my New York space. I'm late for Tyson Chandler.
He's having the food luck at his house, so. Wow, style. Always gotcha. I told Donna Wilde I would tame her. Not gonna tame me. Donna Wilde. Yo, Donna Wilde.
Another day moves made over coffee and bagels. Laid on like bottom Legos. The fallen angel climbing up with my feet attached to handles. Trooping on a narrow path before the cooking angles. Obstacles still like souvenirs on mantles. Funny beat like crab animals. Get my name up on a higher limit.
Oh man. I'm just putting this image on my friend's wall about the coffee lovers. She's definitely on the coffee lovers list. And she's a yoga teacher. Yoga for coffee lovers. She probably hadn't seen this before. I haven't heard from her in a while. Just some of those people who are just not family people, you know. I guess I've been banned from family. I got some family members still on Facebook. Crop, adjust levels. Adjust levels. Make it darker darks. Lighter lights. Richer rich. Adjust colors. Saturate. Can we get? That's alright. And then sharpen. Blur at 3 first. Blur Blur 3 sharpen. Oh, that's it. You sure? Yes, 100%. Yes. Two people sticking with me. This is my no tripod Beachy and Omsky, huh? What else is going on in the world? Have you been entertained by? Man, 25 messages. Who? Someone shared my post. Someone likes my post. Someone likes my post. Someone likes my comment. Someone shared my post. What post is that? Someone posted in. Someone posted in. Someone likes a post. Someone commented on a post. Someone commented. There's an event Friday, the 23rd. That's today, right? Yep. At 5 p.m. National Health Association. What's that? There's an event today at 5? Does somebody know this? Oh yeah, you want to read you the news. I haven't read the news yet today. Are you ready for the news? I don't know if people are ready for the news. The news is pretty intense, man. I don't know. It's always the most happy stuff. Okay, here we go. What is this National Health Association thing, though? There's like kind of a live broadcast on the internet? What's going on? It looks like Furman, Goldhammer, Esser, Clapper, Sarantino, whatever his name is, Juan, Pam Popper, Kathy Fisher, and Timothy Esser. Everything you need to know. Says I'm going. It says it's in Cleveland, in Ohio. Oh, it's actually happening at a physical location. Don't miss out on this opportunity to hear from the all-star lineup of experts that will be in Cleveland, Ohio, and taste some of the most delicious, nutritious meals. Sign up early as space is limited and take advantage. Oh, it's not online. It's the National Hygiene Society? The event for the National Hygiene Society? Really? That means the group that I'm in, that's a private group, is having an event in Ohio right now. And it's all these like hygienic doctors who aren't the raw hygiene doctors. They're like the non-raw. This is like the non-raw hygiene people. I'd go if I could. I'd talk a bunch of shit too. I'd be like, hey, what's up guys? Let's talk about free acids. Okay, here's the news. I haven't read the news for a few days, so we have 2 days of news to read. Evidence, the U.S. is support for ISIS. Oh shit, that's what the news is about right now. The soft coup in Washington. What is that all about? Soft coup in Washington. Does that mean they disposed Trump? We must... Oh shit, you guys want to hear a quote? Nah, I don't want to hear quotes. I'll put these later. To initiate a war of aggression, therefore, is not only an international crime, it is a supreme international crime, differing only from other wars in that it contains within itself the accumulation of evil as a whole. Nuremberg war trial. Okay, here we go. Come on. Who's not fucking doing things happily? Flash. In the United States, human rights only counts if you're white. The corpses pile up like sandbags along the planet's geopolitical borders. What the hell happened? Why did it jump? Why did it jump? Why I reject Western courts and justice in a world ruled by brutal imperialism. The only honorable place to dwell is in jail. Understanding Russia the continuum of history, the United States has actively committed to bringing Russia into submission. Memo to America: you should still be terrified of World War III. What we are doing in Syria to justify ratcheting up tensions with Russia. Eager for World War III on MSNBC. Let Andrea Mitchell's reports survive the nuclear winter to provide a future civilizations with clues as how we got there. Russiagate flops as Democrats' golden ticket. Democrats may be digging a deeper hole for themselves. It's true. We have what all that talk about Russia turned out Democrats were the ones taking money from Russia. The soft in Washington. The little in Kiev is now begetting a great coup of the imperial city. On preparing to publish evidence the United States supporting ISIS. U.S. milk terrorism sponsor Saudi Arabian, Iran regards. 3 nations producing most refugees were targets of the United States intervention. The United States military-industrial complex, insatiable lust for conquest, power, and profit. The U.S. torture, Saudi coup, and ISIS crimes by, with, and through allies. U.S. military and the CIA outsourced parts of their ongoing torture campaign in Yemen. At FBI, Mueller oversaw post 9/11 abuses. Robert Mueller oversaw abuses of innocent Arabs after 9/11. I moved my kids out of USA. It was the best parenting decision I've ever made. Syrian army units kill tens of ISIS Jabhat al-Nusratists in several areas. It is highly likely Daesh leader has been eliminated, Russian Foreign Ministry. The United States says 1 million killed in drone strike on Syrian mosque. Witnesses say dozens killed. Trump policy is clear. Civilization casualties don't matter in the war on. Watch Syrian War Report, June 1st. Government forces advance on Dara. U.S. should mind its own business. It shouldn't be in Syria. Ron Paul. U.S. Islamic State exchange blame for Mosul historic Aret bombing. Video shows destruction of Mosul's Great Mosque of Al-Nuri. U.S. on collision course Syria and Iran. Iraqis jets kill 15 Islamic State militants in Hawija, Al-Afar. Iran preparing to publish evidence the U.S. supporting ISIS. Saudi allies have listed demands for KR. Human Rights Watch. United Arab Emirates forcibly disappears people, operates secret prisons, and backs torture in Yemen. Yemen, urgent investigation needed into United Arab Emirates torture network and possible U.S. role. Amnesty International. Fact or fiction? 18 fighter jets deployed in Saudi Arabia to prevent coup. Kirchner pursuit of mixed peace looks a lot like total surrender to Israel. Ehud Barak runs Israel faces slippery slope towards apartheid. Calm kills 7 at a station in Somalia. 29 killed in car bomb hits Afghan bank. Pentagon wanted up to 28 million in Afghan soldier uniforms wasted. They bought uniforms for the Afghan opium production 40 times higher since the U.S. NATO invasion. Pakistan decries drone strikes on its soil as U.S. considers launching more drone strikes unauthorized on Pakistani territory. Western media cashes in on death of U.S. citizen after release from North Korea. Moscow cancels meeting top U.S. diplomats over new sanctions. NATO warplane buzzes jet carrying Russia defense minister over Baltic Sea. In case you missed it, Russian nuclear weapon would wipe out Texas or France. Senator Manchin attended classified Comey hearing, no evidence whatsoever of Russian collusion. British ex-spy says new U.S. would world threat to security. So the British say that the United States is a world threat to their security. Whose security? Anti-Muslim hate crimes for Manchester and London bridge attacks. Boris Johnson gives worst interview by politician ever on live radio. Germany spied White House over years. WikiLeaks. CIA's secret cyber can infiltrate the world's most secure networks. More people living as refugees now than any time since World War II, new UN report says. Shocking federal prosecutors apparently lied about WikiLeaks and Chelsea Manning. Everything the government and media told us about Chelsea Manning was a lie. Psychologists open a window on brutal CIA interrogations. Brazil's Mitchell Temer hits a new low with a 2% approval rating. Damn. Venezuela's Maduro opens door to possible talks with Trump. U.S. Navy ballistic missile intercept test fails. So the U.S. can't shoot down intercept missiles. Foreign government employee accused of giving top secret docs to China. Trump healthcare plan faces defeat as 4 Republicans plan to oppose the bill. Police literally drag people away from McConnell's office as protests break out over the GOP bill. Democratic National Committee turned down help from the FBI after its system was hacked. Remember when Ford canceled that plant in Mexico? Well, they've just moved it to China. Damn. Built in China. Trump says he doesn't have tapes of conversations with Comey. Trump says he doesn't want a poor person handling the economy. What does that mean? Oh, he wants rich people to be in positions of his cabinet. Dun, dun, dun. That's the news. More. I can give you more news. I don't have any vegan drama or anything though. Other than like maybe I saw Joe's video. Maybe I saw that new video that was kind of critical of Norvegan, but was like semi-supportive and like didn't agree with Harley. Maybe Harley's girlfriend's video where she recycled old footage. Who is more to be pitied? A writer bound and gagged by policemen, or one living in perfect freedom who has nothing more to say? Kurt Vonnegut. Oh yeah, are we done? No, 1%. Dang. Today, television news is watched more often than people read newspapers, than people listen to radio, than people read or gather any other form of communication. The reason? People are lazy. With television, you just sit, watch, listen. The thinking is done for you. Roger Ailes. I don't know. People listening? National Health Association is having a conference today, and I can't go. I'm not in Ohio. How long does it take to get to Ohio? Can I fly to Ohio from now and get there by 5? I don't think so. Would I try? That'd be hardcore. Be like, man, I just flew in from Phoenix. Take me to the frickin' Winchester. Would they let me in for free? Go see Goldhammer and Furman? Would you fly to Ohio to see Goldhammer and Furman? Maybe. I want to encourage them to come back to hygiene. They're like in this group of doctors and lawyers that are controlling the system. It's not fair. Get them away from there, get them to resist, within themselves, some kind of encouragement to find the gumption to say, yes, I can say no to the lawyers and the doctors. They sell us the president the same way they sell us our clothes and our cars. They sell us everything that from youth to religion, the same time they sell us our wars. Jackson Brown. Man can find meaning in life short and perilous as it is, only through devoting himself to society. Albert Einstein. The conquest of war and the pursuit of social justice must become our grand preoccupation and manifest obsession. Norman Cousins. Morning. Is it morning? I guess it is still morning. Computer. The U.S. seems keener to strike at Assad than it does to destroy ISIS. What would be following Saudi's policy? That would be following Saudi Arabia's policy. The U.S. escalation in Syria and the threat of world war. Democrats have endorsed every new act of military escalation in Syria. Yeah, because they're the ones who designed it. U.S. government proves loyalty to ISIS as bill to stop arming terrorists gets only 13 supporters. The bill shows that the federal government is addicted to funding terror. Damn. I don't think anyone's here anymore. I dropped down to number 6 and everybody left. Oh well. Destabilizing the Middle East. More to come. Oh man. Oh no. Belinda never came back. She said 5 minutes and then she never came back. Man. What happened? I need a picture of Roger Ailes. Roger Ailes. Let's get a picture of Roger Ailes. Shit, where because I'm not going to fucking lay down until this fucking video is done coding. Roger Ailes. Roger Ailes is the Fox News guy. Shit. Hmm. 30%. Mm-hmm. 30%. Can I make it? I don't know. Go back out and work hard in the sun, but I don't really want to do that. I'm going to go out prickly pears before dark. Damn it, so I gotta do it before noon because this is the picture I want. There we go. Nice. Hey, what's up, Tom Sweets? The Legend Daryl. What's up, the Legend Daryl? It's hot, man. It's 120 degrees. You're dealing with heat? Whew. I just read the news. You guys got here just a minute late. The news is pretty ugly today, man. The news is not looking pretty. No, no, no. I want to replace it? No. Change the name. It's hot. Damn, Legendary Daryl's got a freaking ripped icon. Dude, we gotta post. I just gotta paste this. It's so important. Only 13 congressmen voted to stop supporting ISIS. You believe that? Only 13 congressmen care? They're like, oh man, ISIS is our guys, you know? Like, and Iran is publishing evidence of the United States government supporting ISIS. Yeah, we already got that evidence, though. We've had that evidence since they've been dropping freaking weapons for them to have and everything. They've actually made them. It's a CIA operative that created ISIS. ISIS is an invention of the United States government and to continue war and to destabilize the Middle East in order to keep it destabilized and controlled. Roger Ailes. We're gonna hashtag this guy. Hashtag Roger Ailes. Damn, I'm dropping an LGBT. What's going on? Where's my LGBT fans? Because I don't have any LGBT fans. Doesn't count. We're heterophobic. Roger Ailes. Boom. Oh, Roger Ailes is dead now. We don't have a Roger Ailes anymore? Really? He didn't have enough money for a heart transplant? Like that one guy who died recently too? Work or not? Come on, computer. 32%? Jeez, that's the longest percent ever. 32.6. Set an alarm or something. 32.7. A tenth of a percent every 5 seconds. That's gonna take forever. Jeez. New YouNow listener, watcher. Sometimes if I go in here and I change the priority of the process to real time, it makes a difference. I don't know why, but it gives it more power. It directs more power toward the browser, so it doesn't crash. And Adobe Flash is trying to hold it down. I swear, CIA has got some kind of fucking hooks in Adobe Flash, and that's how they're disrupting the fucking world of NSA or something. They're messing with our technology. 33%. Maybe if I walk away, wash these dishes, and I come back and it's going to be fixed. Did it make a difference? No. Who cares? I don't care if I can post it to an album. Just freaking post it. Hey, what up, Diego? It's hot.
Imperial dissertations, drug kick, kicking snare roll alliterations, the salutations and greetings and inspirations for the alignment of peaceful deliberations. The situations of patience are heavily stocked as they steadily rock non-stop relations. Connotations of the soul syncopation with these horns is what spark the inclinations for illustrations of vocal suppression. Make them cringe and cower from the sound of disaffection. The love and hate dichotomy. Honestly, you don't want to see the ratchet truckle inside of me. I keep the hatchet, speaking gadgets and gimmicks. Keep that gathers to yourself and acknowledge the limits. Distort the image in the rhyme. It's like osmosis, how I bring them closest. One time for your mind. Now this one goes out for you and yours. We designed the vibe for the listening pleasure. Mature little troll, money beats that's raw. The movement is here, what you waiting for? Now this one goes
The movement is here, what you waiting for? The beats that's raw. With beats that's raw. There it goes. It worked. Okay. Oh shit. I'll be like, if they cook this. This wasn't crashing. Shimmering the beginning of a foundation laid down. Me and Bunny building something so monumental, memorable, wonderful, incredible. Let it be known worldwide. Art imitates life, so I'm picking the vibe. Canvas your ears, see what's heard inside. Get the picture spoken from out the heart, the water dark. Let me be that spark, shining radiant like the sun. Hitting a diamond, I'm finding my balance. Keep faith, meditate through space, chase the age, trying to keep up with time. But lately, I've been letting the minutes pass by, slowing down and appreciating that I'm breathing. Cause any moment, my spirit could be leaving, so I'll exist in. I live life in full effect. Now this one goes out for you and yours. Live life in full effect. Mature little troll, money beats, that's wrong. The movement is here, what you waiting for? Now this one goes out for you and yours. We design the vibe for the listening pleasure. Mature little troll, money beats, that's wrong. The movement is here, what you waiting for? This one goes out for you and yours. For the beats that's raw. For the listening pleasure.
No, they climb very well. From the ground up.
This is organic and inorganic minerals. The differences in mineral forms. Damn, this is the information we want right here. Organic and inorganic mineral elements. Differences in mineral forms and additional articles here. I don't care about the original. You will notice a huge glaring omission, which is so very common these days. There is not one single discussion about whether these are organic or inorganic minerals, whether they are dead or alive. Damn, this is important. Just simply say sodium, chlorine, iron, phosphorus, zinc. They never list whether they are talking about organic or inorganic version of these minerals. It's not the scientist's fault either. This all-important issue has been completely removed and deleted from all nutrition education. When discussing nutrition, you have to state whether you are talking about living, light-infused matter or dead, light-depleted matter. It's cool. Save as. Hey. Living, light-infused matter or dead? Want to see how to make some dead matter? I'll show you how to make some dead matter right now. follow nature, what is to come of us in the future if we can't follow nature? Huh. Jackson Brown. You got sunshine in that? You ain't got sunshine in that? I ain't interested. Jackson Brown. Who's this Jackson Brown? Who's Jackson Brown saying these important things? Bring it, Jackson Brown. Show me. I'll see. Who's Jackson Brown? Oh, Jackson Brown's important. Look at this. Jackson Brown's a pretty important guy. Look at it. Jackson Brown looks like he's like a musician. Let's listen to a Jackson Brown song right now because we're posting Jackson Brown quotes. Jackson Brown. I'm posting a quote by the guy. I'm gonna play a song of his.
There are just one or two unkind things I said to you. Daddy, what was I supposed to do? I don't know why it was so hard to talk to you. I guess my anger pulled me through. No sooner did I hit the streets than the fools looked at me. All in search of truth and bound for glory. Listening to our own heartbeats split around the clock. Bullets feeding down older I become. Living your life day after day. Soon all your plans and changes either fail or fade.
I could pass for Jackson Brown.
Leaving so much still left to say. Daddy, I wanna let you know somehow. The things you said are so much clearer now. And I would turn the pages back, but time will not allow. The way these days just ripple on too fast to last, too strong. Somewhere something went wrong. Maybe we forgot that song. Make room for my 45. Along beside your 78, nothing survives.
No, man.
The way we live our lives.
I'm not getting any audience feedback at all. Oh man, voting 39%. Let's see if we can knock. trying to get people to wake me up. Yeah, I gotta need a tripod though, huh? There we go. The LGBT woman will love this. This is perfect. Transfer this into the sleeping squad for a second. Wake me up, I got 40% when the video's done. This is the most important video I've made, watch. That's only 2%? That's even 2 songs. Have you seen this new video I made? Check out this new video I put together.
The most misunderstood food. From the earliest of written history, fruit has played a key role in human health.
It was the main food consumed in the proverbial Garden of Eden for an untold number of years. During the golden age of man some 2,500 years ago, fruit was the predominant food. This period of time in ancient Greece fostered the development of a hugely disproportional number of history's greatest thinkers, philosophers, artists, and athletes. Fruit has always been recognized as health food, and still firmly holds that esteemed position. The old saying, "An apple a day keeps the doctor away," has been replaced by "eat fruit every day," the 5-a-day way, indicating that the benefits of eating fruit are being more fully recognized. Our government, the health industry, the AMA, nutritionists, dietitians, and every disease control organization that offers nutritional advice suggests that we eat more fruit. Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, there are people who literally shun fruit and others who are actually afraid of eating fruit. A few leaders in the raw food movement actually have suggested that we should learn to live without eating fruit at all. Obviously, someone is mistaken. Let's see if we can discover where the error rests. The last thing I ate was fruit. In the mainstream world, it is not uncommon for people to say to me that they cannot eat fruit because it upsets their stomach. When I ask how they determined this, they tell me it was easy. I tried that fruit in the morning thing, and right away I got an upset stomach. I try explaining that it is very likely that the food they ate the night before is still in their stomach, and that pouring orange juice or other fruit on top of this food is likely to result in a fermenting mess, a combo bombo. I suggest waiting until the stomach is truly empty before adding in fresh fruit for better results. Still, since fruit was the last thing consumed before the indigestion ensued, fruit very often takes the blame. Similarly, in the raw food movement, fruit takes the blame for problems it did not cause. Based on calculations from personal and professional observations, the average raw fooder consumes 65% or more of his or her calories from fat.
Abdullah's
the fat
live
is
right
mainly
now.
derived from eating meals calorically dominated by oils, avocados, nuts, seeds, nut and seed butters, coconuts, and olives. This is over half again more than the national average of 42%. On a diet that is so predominated by fat, blood levels of this nutrient tend to run extremely high. High blood fat results in high blood sugar, as sugars cannot exit the blood well when blood fat levels are elevated. Under this scenario, the pancreas and the adrenal glands are forced to work harder to lower blood sugar levels down towards normal. This causes the organs and glands to eventually become fatigued and eventually fail. This will lead to great swings in blood sugar levels known as hyper and hypoglycemia and, eventually, diabetes and chronic fatigue. The hypoglycemia develops as a result of excessive insulin production. The thyroid gland soon follows suit, for it is stimulated by the adrenals and will often become hypofunctional as the adrenal glands weaken. Other hormonal issues, cancer, heart disease, and most digestive disorders are also known to be caused by the overconsumption of fat. So how does fruit take the blame? Many of the above-mentioned symptoms and conditions do not become apparent unless fruit is consumed. Unstable blood levels are often seen immediately following the consumption of even small quantities of fruit when the consumer is on a high-fat diet. However, almost every condition for which fruit is named the culprit is actually caused by the high-fat diet. While raw food movement leaders continue to blame fruit for a wide assortment of health problems, I must agree with them that these effects will occur as long as the consumer is on a high-fat diet. Avoiding fruit is not the answer, as it is not the guilty party. In fact, it is insufficient fruit consumption that leads raw fooders to consume higher than healthy levels of fat. The simple sugars
You gotta watch how many avocados and
fructose,
coconuts
are
you
essential.
eat.
They are the precise
You gotta eat
fuel
like-
used by all of our body's cells.
Not
I get
all
so hungry
avocados.
when I eat only fruit. One of the most common complaints related to fruit is the idea that fruit's satiating power is not lasting. I tried that fruit in the morning thing, and about an hour later I was starving, is about the way the story usually goes. At first glance, this may look like a valid indictment of fruit's inadequacy as a meal, but the situation deserves a bit more investigation. When I ask the nature of the fruit meal, I am usually told, I had an orange, or a slice of melon, a banana, or some grapes. For most people, A typical breakfast usually contains close to 750 calories. A
I'm interested to
medium-sized
see
piece of
Iran's
fruit
evidence
averages about
coming out.
75 calories. When we eat a breakfast of just a piece of fruit or two, we are eating only 10-20% of the calories that we previously did. Thus we feel empty and low on energy. Even if the goal is weight loss, this is too extreme a reduction to be satiating, maintainable, or nutritionally adequate. When explaining that fruit has a lower caloric density than all other foods except for vegetables and therefore, fruit must be eaten in greater volume if one endeavors to consume sufficient calories, there is sometimes a glimmer of comprehension before the curtain of dismissal falls again. Yeah, but how much fruit can I eat at one sitting? You're telling me to eat more than one slice of a melon or 2 bananas? Yes, I say. We can train ourselves to comfortably eat satisfying fruit meals, allowing ourselves to actually eat fruit until completely satiated. This could mean that you eat an entire melon for breakfast, or 6, 12, or even a greater number of bananas for lunch. There are 3 main factors involved in feeling satiated, and here is how fruit figures into each. It is very likely that as a child you heard your mom say, "Don't eat sweets before your meal, it will spoil your appetite." In effect, she was explaining that fruits are a satiating food, although she may have been speaking of candy or other less acceptable foods at the time. Even a small rise in blood sugar to the above normal range results in a satiated feeling. Fruit certainly supplies the necessary sugars for such a rise, and hence, is very satiating. This is why many people are initially satisfied to eat just a small amount of fruit. Another reason why fruit eating results in satiation is its high content of essential nutrients. The nutritional composition of fruit comes closer to mimicking the full spectrum of human nutrient needs than that of any other food group. Also, the nutrients in fruit are the most easily accessed and absorbed, because fruit requires less digestion than do other foods. Many of the nutrients in fruit require no digestion at all. They are readily absorbed. These include, but are not limited to, water, sugar, minerals, vitamins, and many phytonutrients. Although not digestible, the fiber in fruit is soft and soluble and thus gentle on the delicate membranes of the digestive tract while affording relatively easy access to the nutrients it encapsulates. These factors combine to make fruit the most satiating of foods.
Like a hidden user,
Last but not least, our level of satiation is directly related to the volume of food we consume. As such, in order to feel satiated, we must ingest a significant volume of food. All of our essential nutrients can be concentrated into a tablet or cube and consumed in just a few bites. While some experts may consider such a concentrated meal to be nutritionally complete, research has repeatedly shown that people are not satisfactorily satiated because of the meager volume. Exactly because of its low caloric density.
The percentages it comes from nature and puts it together for us.
Volumes of food per meal.
You can't isolate.
In fact, for many people who have become accustomed to the commonly consumed low-volume, fat-rich meals, deriving satisfaction from a meal of all fruit at first typically poses a seemingly insurmountable volume challenge. My stomach can't hold all of that. People believe. Yet, if they take the challenge and stick with it for a few days, they will learn they can eat sufficient quantities, and they will feel satisfied and reap the benefits of improved health. Fruit makes the ideal meal. It takes a bit of practice to learn how much fruit is sufficient for a meal which will satiate for several hours until the next meal. It is equally true that a mental adjustment is required in order to expand one's understanding of how much fruit is actually appropriate at a meal. With sufficient experience, one's ability to consume extremely satisfying fruit meals will grow to become one of life's great pleasures.
Saudi Arabia and Israel
After
to
all,
establish
fruit is
economic
health
relations.
food. Anyone interested in attaining, maintaining, and gaining increased health should consider consuming fruit as their predominant food.
Saudi hijinks. Wow, that was cool. Okay, cool. I just wanted to play that out of the way. Oh shit, let's get back to reading the news, 'cause that's what we were doing, huh? We weren't finished reading the news. I just was shocked by it, and I freaking was getting copy-paste, and then I stopped reading, but it's not nearly over. So, U.S. government proves loyalty to ISIS as bill to stop arming terrorists gets 13 supporters. The bill is showing that the federal government is addicted to funding terror. Saudi hijinks, U.S. policy stinks. The king's favorite son jumps the secession queue in what some observers have called a soft coup. Saudi Arabia, Israel establish economic relations for the first time. Forming economic connections begins by allowing Israeli companies to open shops in the Arab kingdom. Israel versus the UN, the Nikki Haley doctrine. Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, seems to be championing a single cause, Israel. U.S. illegally at war for a long time now. The current war the U.S. is leading are illegal. Current wars. Thank you for your killing. Killing people, that's what U.S. soldiers have been doing in Israel since 1990 and in Afghanistan since 2001. North Korea is open to moratorium on nuclear missile tests. North Korea views its nuclear weapons program as a deterrent against Washington's hostile policies against it. Our president's word wars. Instead of America first, we really need diplomacy first. Such must match security or surveillance. The Edward Snowden interview. Former intelligence analyst turned whistle. Edward Snowden tells all. I need that. Do you want to keep going on the news? What would you say to those who argue that are nothing to something so
Hello, everybody,
nothing to fear
and
to
thank you for
intrusive entry
tuning
war?
into the Liberty
Snowden is
Report. Co-host today, Daniel McAdams, is with me.
engaging
Daniel, good to
philosophically
see
and
you.
frank about the current
Very
position
good.
where
With Daniel and our viewers, we have a very special guest today. He is well known as a computer specialist and professional, probably one of the best in the world, and he is very well known. But he's best known for revealing to the American people and to the world what the NSA has been doing to the American people. And
nice. Okay, 1 minute. Where are we at here now? It's 50%. Ooh, are you ready? It's gonna get. Oh, there's only one person here, isn't it? Beaches. Oh no. Only person here. Yeah, that's Beachy's the only one here. What do you think of that, Beachy? They're the only person here. What does that mean? At least 76 ISIS militants killed in renewed clashes with Kurdish-led SDF in Raqqa. U.S.-based Syrian forces close in on Raqqa from south. Scores of ISIS jihadists killed in failed offensive in Deir ez-Zor. White House officials push for widening war on Syria over Pentagon objections. Germany quits. Incirlink, Turkey marches on Kurds. Australia to resume bombing in Syria. BRICS, Syria territorial integrity is non-negotiable. Record number of women killed in U.S.-led airstrikes on Syria and Iraq in May. Airstrikes on Iraq jets killed 15 Islamic State militants in Hijaz, Tal Afar. 8 ISIS militants killed in paramilitary troop foil attack west of Mosul. Iraqi forces advance on ISIS Mosul stronghold. ISIS destroys Mosul mosque where leader Baghdadi declared caliphate. Qatar, hacking linked to countries boycotting Doha. Qatar row. U.S. shifts tone as Turkey troops arrive in Doha. Bahrain reportedly... Wait a minute. Qatar hacking linked to countries of Doha. Bahrain reportedly orders Qatar troops to leave. Death toll reaches 1,170 in Yemen cholera outbreak. Over 1,700,000 suspected cases. World Health Organization? What? Sounds messed up. Saudi king empowers son in secession shakeup. Saudi Arabia, greater new reformer, is also behind Yemen catastrophe. Decoding the soft coup that makes Mohammed bin Salman the most powerful man in Saudi Arabia. The disastrous rise of Saudi Arabia's crown prince Mohammed bin Salman. After shocking Saudi shakeup, not a question of if but when new escalation with Iran starts. Report. Israel and Saudi Arabia discuss economic relations. Jared Kushner visits home of Israel policewoman killed in terror attack. Egypt sends fuel for jets. Only power plant as Hamas links thaw. Huh? So Hamas links thawing means that their relations are embettering, and so they're giving them gasoline. Clashes kill 100 in Central Africa Republic as ceasefire crumbles. Afghan security forces killed 20, injured 12 Daesh fighters, militants in past 2 days. Gunmen kill 8 Afghan guards at U.S. base. Trump administration eyes hardening line towards Pakistan. U.S.-China to meet as actively detected at North Korean nuclear test site. U.S.-China to meet as activity detected at North Korean nuclear test site. Russian defense minister plane buzzed by NATO jet. Trump meets Ukraine's president, adds to Russian sanctions. Brussels attacker with nail bomb identified as Moroccan. UK Grenfell Tower survivors to get homes in $2 billion luxury block. DUP put $2 billion price tag on deal to keep May's Tory government afloat. Evidence proves Brazil's Lula must be acquitted. Defense. Deadly heat waves could threaten nearly 3/4 of world's inhabitants. Special prosecutor investigates Mexican government spying allegations. John McAfee, every router in America has been compromised. X-ray drones see through walls. Secret government report. Chelsea Manning leaks caused no real harm. Oh, let's get that shit up. News break. This redheaded vegan, welcome. Mindy Cat, welcome. Let's see what Snowden has to say. Like, if it's going to be... Like,
Can you say about a level of America and whether it work is who could survive life?
I don't know.
It needs a re-encode, doesn't it? And I'm at 53% on this. So what's up, Jovan? Shit. If I just put this up as is, they don't care. It's hella popular. Security or surveillance?
Staple by policy should we keep these programs? Are they effective? The president's review.
The framing's all fucked up.
Yeah,
I need to reframe this. Ron Paul tried really hard, but I'm gonna make it better.
Liberals, again, that's the former CIA Deputy Director Michael Morrell type staffing these. And they found that these programs of mass surveillance had never stopped a terrorism attack in the United States, despite more than 10 years of operation. And when we see things like that, remember, you're on the inside. And publicly, you see the news saying something completely different. You see the politicians saying something completely different. You see the most senior intelligence official in the United States, General James Clapper, raising his right hand and saying, no, we don't do that. We don't intercept communications from millions of Americans, no matter what. And you know that's false. You talk to your office mates. And go, is this right? Is this what we should be doing? And they go, no, but keep your head down. You know what happens if people speak. And we all have a level, right, of this kind of cognitive dissonance that we can accept. A level of injustice, of inhumanity, of incivility that we can accept in the daily world that we sort of internalize and suppress. And then we have one step. And I did find one document after.
So now I know, I have an idea of what I'm doing next, so let's continue the news. Yes, that's going to work out very well. As well as the frickin' what I'm making right now. 54%? Revelations. You don't even know. Okay. Terrorist reportedly stabs cop in neck in Michigan airport. Terrorism fears drive more in U.S. to avoid crowds. Dash cam video shows Minnesota officer fire 7 shots into Philando Castile's car. Special counsel to probe Team Obama's obstruction of justice. Illinois comptroller, the state can no longer function. Republican Karen Handel defeats Democrat John Ossoff of Georgia's 6th Congress District. Tucker, why Democrats keep losing elections. Watch. This might be good too, but I don't care. Newspaper front pages from USA. Propaganda. How deep do we want to go? I'm willing to go at least this far. Let's see if there's a video with this. There is. I knew it.
Madison wrote that the executive branch is the branch most prone to war. Therefore, the Constitution, with studied care, granted that power or vested that power in the legislature. In no way did they argue that Article 2 was unlimited authority to commence, initiate, or engage in war at all. In fact, most of the Founding Fathers would disagree with you on saying that Article 2 gives the President power to commence in war.
I got it right here.
To defend the country under imminent attack, to execute the war once the war is initiated. The initiation of war is congressional duty, not the President's at all. Even the War Powers Act, a couple centuries later, nobody reports
Article 1, there's Article 1.
There's a reporting requirement in there, but it also
right
says in another
the
section
executive powers shall be vested in a President of the United States. He shall hold his office during the term of years, and together with the Vice President chosen at the time, be elected as shown. Each state appoints such a thing, elections.
I applaud their motives. I don't question their motives, but I do doubt that this will change any of our military interventions as to what we're doing. I want to know, are we going to limit the President's power? Are we going to take back our power?
Take the oath of affirmation. I do solemnly swear that the person shall exempt a natural citizen. The Congress may
we've had millions of people die in 5-year wars before, so I think it's virtually meaningless.
As far as the geographic limit on there, also virtually meaningless. If you look at associated
Here's
forces,
the end of Article 2, Section 2.
part of
President
or
shall
substantially
be
supports Al-Qaeda,
Commander-in-Chief
Taliban,
of the
Islamic
Army
State.
of Navy of the United States
Well, just
and
the Islamic
of the
States in
militia
32
of the United
countries
States
right now.
when called
I mean, add
into
in
the
Taliban
actual
and you add
service
in Al-Qaeda,
of the United States.
at least
He
50
may
or 60
require
countries. I'm
the
not voting
opinion
to war-
in writing
go to war in 50
on
or
the
60
principal
countries.
officer
So,
in each of the executive departments upon the subject relating to the duties of their respected offices, and he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons and offenses against the United States, except in the case of impeachment. He shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties, provided 2/3 of the senators present concur, and he shall nominate, and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers, and councils, judges of the Supreme Court, and other offices of the United States, whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and with shall be established by law, but the Congress may, by law, vest the appointment of such inferior officials as they think proper in the President alone, in the courts of law, or in the heads of departments. The President shall have power to fill up all vacancies and that may happen during the recess of Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. He shall have from time to time give to the Congress information of the State of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as they shall judge necessary and expedient. He shall, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses, or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. Section 4, Article 2. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. All right. That's what he was saying.
If we're going to limit something, let's have a debate. If we're going to just simply pass something to say we passed something that's not limiting, I mean, one of our testimonies today says basically,
Article 2. We just read
you
Article
got
2.
all the Article 2, and just be nice. Kind of just be nice to have an AUMF. No, it wouldn't be nice. That's the Constitution. There's supposed to be no war without an AUMF. We have been illegally at war for a long time now. This is illegal war at this point. So when we look at this, when we ask ourselves,
Hey, what's up, Zach? Dink.
What are we doing here?
You're the only person. I think you're the only person here. No, Peachy's the only person.
We're going to identify our enemy. But, you know, the 9/11 proclamation, over and over again, people say associated forces as if that's in the document. That's not even in the document. The document, as Senator Cardin said, was very, very specific to 9/11. And we've had people just saying you can do anything you want now for 15 years.
Says, oh, I missed something.
Then there's the practical question. The practical question is doing anything you want, killing every perceived enemy and every perceived leader of chieftain of 5 people in some misbegotten village, is it helping? Are we going to defeat an ideology by killing people? I was all for going after the people after 9/11. I would have voted for that. But I don't think war in Yemen is necessarily helping us. I don't think the man raid in Yemen made us safer. In fact, and I don't blame our soldiers for this. Look, I've got members of my family that are active duty. They do what they're told. They're brave young men and women. But, you know, when they killed 4 or 5 al-Qaeda people in a village, but we also kill their wives and children, And I'm not saying we intentionally do it. They're probably firing at us. They're in the middle of a firefight. But is it better? Do we have less terrorists now or more? We killed 5. Well, what do you think happens in that village and surrounding that village for decades? For 100 years they'll be talking about the time the Americans came and killed the people and killed our women and children. For 100 years they're going to be talking about the Saudis dropping bombs on a funeral procession. That does not go away. These people remember the Battle of Karbala in 680 AD. They have long memories. One of my favorite quotes is, "You have all the watches, but we have all the time." They're just going to be there, and they will wait us out. But we're not going to defeat terrorism by having war in 60-some-odd countries.
59%. 59%. We're getting there. 59%. 2 hours in.
Ideology. We have to defend ourselves. But
Belinda said she'd be back in 5 minutes. It's been way more than 5 minutes.
Say now, I won't vote for something that doesn't limit the president's power, but simply gives a rubber stamp to what we are doing. And I would argue that our founding fathers did not agree with unlimited Article 2 authority. In fact, they thought Article 2 was virtually unlimited authority to execute an already initiated war. If you look at every founding father, whether it's Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, every one of them believed that the power to initiate war was Congress's. You could repel imminent attack, even against the Barbary pirates. It was an imminent attack and keeping war. But Jefferson worried that he needed to come back, and he actually did come back very quickly, within a few months, and they did vote on authorizing that activity. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about repelling attackers in the open seas, which I'm for. We're not talking about a limited thing. We're talking about worldwide war, and I think this authorization will not limit that in any way. I have no question. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Paul, would you yield to a question? All right. And this is not a belligerent question. Indeed, I think that your comments are exactly the kind of robust debate that Congress needs to do and the American people need to do, and that the Founding Fathers intended when they put those provisions in there. And I'd ask if you would respond. And again, this is not a belligerent question, but there are people who argue in response to your allegations that, well, what we're doing is illegal. They would argue that, well, look, Congress has to authorize military force. There's no exact way they have to do it, and one of the ways they can do it is by appropriating funds for it, thereby giving it the okay. So there are people who make that argument. Well, how would you respond to that? And again, this is not a belligerent question. It's part.
I appreciate the question. I think it goes to the heart of the matter. There are 2 ways you can initiate war. You initiate it through an authorization and then through funding. You can just continue funding. That's one way of ending it. But you're trying then to end something if it was never initiated. So, for example, currently we have a war never initiated by Congress, and you would be trying to end it by funding. I would argue that practically it's very difficult to stop funding, because the argument will be, like I say, I've got active duty. I have active members of my family over there. Do I want to stop funding them in the middle of their battle? So it is much more difficult that way, but I think the debate was intended to be at the beginning before we begin funding a war. And even during Vietnam, the most acrimonious our country has probably been in terms of war, other than the Civil War. I think in the end, in the very end, we still didn't even defund it. We might have defunded it after people had left Vietnam, but we never voted to defund even a very unpopular war. So for practical purposes, I would say, and for constitutional purposes, our job is before we get to the funding part.
Thank you, Senator Paul. Senator King, you pick.
Nick Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, seems to become champion a single cause, Israel. When Haley speaks about Israel, her language is not merely emotive nor tailored to fit the need of a specific occasion. Rather, her words are resolute, consistent, and are matched by clear plan of action. Along with Haley, the right-wing Israeli government of Benjamin Netanyahu is moving fast to cultivate the unique opportunity of missing the UN and thus any attempt to criticize the Israeli occupation. Unlike previous UN ambassadors who strongly backed Israel, Haley refrains from any coded language or any attempt, however poor, to appear balanced. Last March, she told a crowd of 1,800 supporters in the American-Israeli Public Committee Affairs Affairs Committee annual policy conference that this is a new era for U.S.-Israel relations. I wear heels. It's not for a fashion statement, she told a crowd thrilled by her speech. It's because if I see something wrong, we're going to kick them every single time. Trump's new ambassador condemned in introspect UN Security Resolution 2334, which stringently criticized Israel's illegal settlements. While still in its final days in office, the Obama administration did not vote for, but did not vote veto the resolution either, thus setting a precedent that has not been witnessed in many years. U.S. abstention, according to Haley, was as if the entire country felt a kick in the gut. What made Israel particularly angry over Obama's last act at the UN was the fact that it violated a tradition that has extended for many years, most notably during the term of John Negroponte, U.S. ambassador to the UN, during former President George W. Bush's first term in office. What became known as the Negroponte Doctrine was a declared U.S. policy that Washington will not oppose any resolution that criticizes Israel that does not also condemn Palestinians. But Israel, not the Palestinians, is the occupying power that refuses to honor dozens of UN resolutions and various international treaties and laws. By making that decision and indeed following through to ensure its implementation, the U.S. managed to sideline the UN as an irrelevant institution. Sidelining the UN, then, also meant that the U.S. would have complete control over managing the Middle East, but especially in the situation in Palestine. However, under Trump, even the U.S.-led and self-tailored peace process has become obsolete. This is the real moral, but also political crisis of the Haley Doctrine, for it goes beyond Negroponte's silencing of any criticism of Israel at the UN into entirely removing the UN, thus international law, from being a factor in resolving the conflict. The ambassador seems to have no regard for her country's allies or the possible repercussions of diminishing the only international body that still serves as a platform for international engagement and conflict resolution. In a talk at the Geneva-based UN Human Rights Council, which is made up of 46 member countries, Haley declared that her country is reviewing its participation in this council. She claimed that Israel is the only country permanently on her body's calendar, an inaccurate statement that is often uttered by Israel with little bias in truth. What does that mean? Do you see what just happened? Do you see what just happened? The UN is going away. The UN is an irrelevant fictional body. In a talk, and it says, for hundreds, Americans killed, women, children. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. The ambassador seems to have no regard for her country's allies and repercussions of the diminishing international body that serves as a platform for international conflict resolution. This is, however, under Trump, that's how we're started. Sidelining the UN. Israel and not the Palestinians is the occupying power that refuses to honor the resolutions. Oh, we're starting there, actually. Going for a big one. Yeah. Let's find a picture of the UN. UN. Dude, we're starting war right now. Are you ready? Gene A, are you ready for war? Do you see what just happened? Today is a major step in advancement in the war. What side are you on? What is your position on the existence of the UN? Do you believe in the UN's in power, or do you think it doesn't matter? And we're going to sideline them in every situation we want. We're going to quit the UN. Will USA quit the UN, and when will it happen? Israel. Oops. I don't like how that happens. What is that about? Israel and not Palestine. Israel. That doesn't make any sense. Israel. And occupying power over Palestinians. That's their people. Refuses to honor dozens of UN resolutions and various and international treaties and laws by making that decision and indeed following through to ensure in its implementation by its decisions and by following through ensuring their implementation. USA, I don't know if it's called USA manages, or it doesn't have to say manages, to just sidelines the UN the UN as an irrelevant institution. Sidelining the UN then also means that USA has complete control over managing the Middle East, but especially the situation in Palestine. However, under Trump, even the U.S. has and self-tailored peace process. Even the U.S.-led and self-tailored peace process has become obsolete. This is the real moral but political crisis of the Haley Doctrine, for it goes beyond Negroponte's silencing of any criticism of Israel at the UN into entirely removing the UN, thus international law, from existing as a factor in resolving conflicts. The ambassador seems to have no regard for her country's... What's her name again? Haley? Haley? A-L-L-E? Is that how I spell it? Shit. Haley has no regard for USA's allies or about repercussions of dismissing the sole international body that still serves as a platform for international engagement and conflict resolution in a talk at a Geneva-based UN Human Rights Council, which is made up of the 46 member countries, which is, I don't have to say that, which is made up of its 46 member countries. Haley declared that her country will review its participation she claimed that Israel is the only country permanently on the body's calendar. Oh, she's talking about the UN. I thought it was her body she was saying. Oh, shit. Yeah, but we're making a photograph for this. It'll work much better with a photograph. We got one person watching. What's up, Duchess? What happened to Belinda? She said her boyfriend cheated on her and then she took off. She said she'd be back in 5 minutes. What's going on? Belinda is giving it up. And then she's upset that she's probably not giving it up enough. Could you imagine being Belinda's boyfriend? What would happen? How would life go if you were Belinda's boyfriend? She's like not always vegan, but sometimes thinking about vegan and talking shit about her friends on the internet that are raw. And she's like, oh my gosh, these people on the internet, they only eat fruit. and then she's like, I can't even manage to not eat animal products. And then she's trying to quit like drinking hardcore as well as smoking tobacco. Oh my gosh. And probably drinks caffeine as well. You know? I couldn't even imagine Belinda's situation seems hectic. That's every pretty I know situation, pretty much. Do you know anyone who doesn't have that situation? She's going, and we're all like going out to some kind of bar. Open with Photoshop. We need to do my signature. This is the signature move I do. What's up, the Cuban vegan? Whoa. I need a new tripod. It's over. I think I gotta stop using this. It's like my broadcast is like, I don't know where to move it or how to do this. You see? It's got only 2 legs. What are you gonna do? It's the hottest time of the day right now. I'm gonna go out and fucking go into some cold ass fucking stores and it's gonna fucking give me hypothermia because the store is too cold. Fuck. I'm gonna go get a tripod. I'm gonna look at 2 places. One of them's got one. And then I'm gonna get those prickly pear cactus. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna make that prickly pear fruit leather. I have that new tripod, and we'll start broadcasting again. You know, I just read the whole news. You know, the news was pretty sick. This is the image I'm making for my story that I just read you. But I'll be back.